Thanks, Chair. This motion is calling on the Chief Executive to take action to ensure that housing maintenance requests in Balgady that are assigned to a contractor are completed within 4 weeks of the issue being logged. I suppose I'm putting this motion because I'm becoming increasingly frustrated with people contacting me who have got onto the council about specific maintenance issues and they are not being addressed. They don't receive responses. Months go by and they hear nothing, and they end up having to contact a councillor. I contact the councillor on their behalf, and then it turns out almost every single time that the issue is with the contractor, and the contractor has just decided to go off and clearly not finish the job. And this is extremely frustrating. It's frustrating for two reasons. First of all, for the tenant who's sitting and waiting around and not having issues fixed. Secondly, it's frustrating because these contractors are private contractors who are being paid public money to do certain jobs that they're just not doing, and in a lot of cases direct labour have to go out and fix things that were not done properly by contractors and so on. So I see in the response, so one example, I had a woman contact me today. She has been dealing with an issue since September. It was the first time she logged it. There was issues with electrics, there's issues with mould and damp. There was originally a leak from her ceiling. The leak was fixed, but then there's a hole in the ceiling where the electrics are. Some of the electrics were fixed, some weren't, and no one came back out to fix the ceiling and so on. And she's been waiting since September. She has logged it again. She's gone on to me. I put in a rep. The rep is out of date at this stage. It was put in early January, and it's just extremely frustrating that this just keeps happening all the time. And then I see in the reply, I find this kind of interesting, the responses for maintenance requests, the emergency ones are 1 to 5 working days, urgent 10 working days, that's fine. But then the routine says 12 weeks plus. Like that could literally be anything. And that includes, for example, faulty radiators. I mean, that's just not acceptable that anyone would have to wait for more than 3 months to have a radiator fixed, for example. I mean, that's just, and then there's no upper limit to that, it just says 12 weeks plus. I mean, that's just not acceptable to me. The tenants are paying rent to live in a property that's supposed to be suitable for someone to live in, and in a lot of cases aren't, and people are waiting for this long. And it's just got me to this stage where I had to put in a motion to say I don't think it's acceptable that people are waiting this long, and particularly when it's gone to a private contractor that just don't do the work. And then people have to get onto me. They shouldn't have to get onto me. Things should be dealt with when they contact the council. And if they contact the council on multiple occasions without nothing happening, it's extremely frustrating for everyone. So I wanted to raise this, and I suppose I'm not particularly happy with the response, and I would ask that the manager would look at making sure that issues are followed up with the contractor to make sure that the works that they're supposed to be doing are actually getting done, because in my experience, they're not getting done.
Thank you, Councillor. Manager?
As the report says, 639 work orders were completed in Balgady, and nearly half of them were for heating-related issues, which would be responded to fairly quick. Now, I know sometimes there's a delay in repairs in obtaining parts for some of the heating systems, but I'm not aware of a backlog in particular with regard to any specific contractor. So if there is an outstanding issue with certain properties, or there's an outstanding issue with a particular contractor, and you want to send me an email, I'll certainly look into it, and myself and John will follow up with the contractor. John is my colleague, he's the senior exec engineer, so we look after housing maintenance, but definitely if there is a backlog with particular contracts or in a particular area, we'll certainly look into them and try and have them resolved. From the other point of view, we're heavily invested in our planned maintenance programme to improve the quality of our housing stock, to reduce the need for response maintenance. So that's where another focus is. But I understand frustration if somebody's reporting things over and over again and they're not getting a response. So happy to look into that if you have more details.
Thank you, Manager. Councillor?
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I know on a lot of occasions when I contact one of the managers directly, things do get done. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is that it shouldn't have to come to that, you know. And it's not just the woman I was talking about from earlier today. It is a pattern with where there's issues that are either not fixed properly. So say I had another woman earlier this year who had an issue with the boiler, and it just kept happening, and it was very clear to me that the boiler just needed to be replaced. And instead people kept coming out and just saying, oh no, we've done a little bit, and then it works for like a week and then it doesn't work again. And you know, so these kind of consistent issues, and I think people often feel that they're being fobbed off, and obviously because of the way things are in Balgadi in particular, like these issues are happening elsewhere too, but in Balgadi in particular, people then give up. Like that's fact, you know. People just stop contacting the council because they just can't be bothered anymore, because they just don't receive a response. A lot of time I feel that they're being fobbed off. So I suppose what I'm saying is, yes, I'm happy to send stuff on, but I don't think it should get to that stage in the first place, you know. Thanks.